Hey, what's up guys, Diplex here again. Welcome back to Men of War Assault Squad 2 and Warhammer 40k. Sorry for not uploading any videos this week. This is the first video since last Saturday, so we're coming up to soon a week without any videos. And here I am to resuscitate you from your near-death experience. But don't worry, Diplex is back. Videos will return to normal today and tomorrow and hopefully for the rest of my life. Do you guys remember what I said in my first Shogun 2 video where I would do this until I die? And it sounded like a pretty heavy commitment, but we're almost 7 years into that, so times another 10 and I think we've got it in the box. What are we doing today? Well, we've got ourselves a very cool Warhammer 40k urban combat map sent to me personally by Panagiotis. Yes. Now, I don't think many of you know who this is, but he's a very talented mapper. We've been on a few Star Wars maps by the guy before, and yeah, thank you for the map. This is good stuff. So, I did actually spend some time recently getting to know more about Warhammer 40k, and primarily the lore. Yes, primarily the Imperial lore. And if you think I'm talking slowly, it's because I've been sick, which is also why I haven't been uploading in a week. So, sick plus really messed up sleep schedule equals no videos, equals me kind of talking a little sluggish, although I am very much awake, so to speak. So, yes, as I said, been spending hours and hours listening and watching Luton09's Warhammer lore videos. So shout out to you, man. You probably won't be watching this video, but if you guys want to know more, he presents it very nicely in a very comfortable way of learning, so to speak. So what we're doing today is something from the Unification Wars, right? So during the Great Crusade, we've got the Imperial Fists, which was one of the original chapters or legions, so to speak. We have their Astartes out here fighting, and I would like to do more videos that are more lore based later on, now that I'm starting to know more. It would be awesome to do something with Horus's own Lunar Wolves and his and his other fellow traitor legions, and perhaps even do something with the Word Bearers versus the Ultramarines or something like that, or whoever else was actually sent to. It was the Ultramarines, and I do believe another legion as well. Or was it the Emperor's own guard and him that was sent to the planet that the Word Bearers had occupied and turned into this planet of worshipping the Emperor, which he, by the way, disallowed, because worshipping a religion and holding anyone to a religious stature and position, so to speak, is illegal. The only legality and the only religion, so to speak, that is allowed and that is followed and practiced by the Emperor and the Empire is the word of the Emperor and the word of the Imperium, the truth, so to speak, which is more of a codex rather than a religion, because he felt that if mankind was supposed to be able to reach the kind of immense power and might that his Emperor did, religion had to be abolished. But that's the more I get into the lore, the way more I'm gonna start talking about other things because I'm like eager to show you my knowledge. But so yes, we were on one of the planets here that the Emperor aims to capture, and many of the planets that the Crusaders, so to speak, or that the Crusade in general reached, which by the way were planets that had been part of the human empire, so to speak, before the Age of Strife. So during the Golden Age, which was after our time that we live in now, more or less, humanity had just started colonizing space, expanding, and been getting a lot of technology. Then a lot of civil wars happened, and a lot of problems occurred in general, and that became the Age of Strife. Most of our home planet, which would be Terra, was almost completely devastated. Only really Mars and the Moon, right, survived to some extent, where the tech priests were at. But anyway, that's also a different story. Yes, as I said, in that started the Age of Strife, which was just a hard time where humanity was almost close to facing defeat, so to speak. The Emperor came along and conquered his own planet again, which would be our planet, the Earth. and then then the Great Crusade began, which was about the Unification Wars and other wars as well that included fighting some other races too, I believe. And that was after his creation of the Space Marines and the different legions and chapters to aid him in the conquest of the what used to be the Great Human Empire before. So here we are during one of those fights. Many of the planets welcomed the Emperor and his forces when they came, but this one it did not. So what units are we using for this battle? Well, these guys would be the Crusaders, also almost, I would say, Inquisitioners, part of the Inquisition. But I did wanted to give this planet a unit that didn't resemble Imperial Guard. So the faction that lives on this planet has soldiers that look like this, because you know everything is more or less human that we're uniting. But over the course of many hundreds and thousands of years, not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds and thousands of years, if not thousands, they would obviously kind of like divert into their own culture and their own look. So not everyone would look like the Imperial Guard or the Emperor or what we look at with our styles and Terra and stuff. But in the base, it's mostly human and Earth-like designs for buildings and uniforms and whatnot. Anyway, so we're attacking here. We've got the Imperial Fists on the ground with guardsmen that has joined this fleet. There were thousands of Imperial fleets that were sent out, like different crusading fleets that went to different planets. The Imperial Fists was engaged in some serious combat on Ophelia 6, which was one of the planets. So that's one of the more legendary. Oh, look, they're being shot down now, and they're actually almost being pushed back. So this unknown faction or planetary force is trying to beat back the invasion here. Trying to beat back the Imperial invasion. But we'll see if they can hold out long enough here to receive reinforcements and to eliminate the defenders of this planet to later claim this conquest complete and successful, so to speak. I've got some really cool new maps coming up later as well. I have another Star Wars Tug of War on Endor, and I have the Japanese invasion of California, Los Angeles to be exact, presented to you by myself and Mighty Mapper 123. So that'll be exciting. That'll be coming up soon again. I also have another Korean War video a map made by Zach Pack. We're going to be doing Gloucester Hill. Oh, that is so cool. Look at that. I would say that they're making progress now. We do have our guardsmen back here ready to defend. This is the square, and further back here we have the landing zone, and we're waiting for reinforcements to arrive later. But we're holding our ground. I love these battles. They're really cool. The urban fighting is awesome, and I think I've been doing kind of like some pretty static camera movements, so people have a good idea of what's happening. So I'm going to try and stay as relaxed with the camera movement as I am talking. I think it's a good mix. I think Space Marine combat in general is fantastic with all the hand grenades and all the beating they can take. So the defenders of this planet that refused to join the Empire look pretty damn cool. They've got also weapons that don't really resemble the guardsman weaponry, which is nice. So another thing that I want to reflect on while we're watching these guys in their conquest of the square, which is beautiful from this point of view here. I mentioned in a video a long time ago, before I knew anything really about Warhammer 40k, that I thought that the weaponry that the Space Marines used, despite being so modernized and despite this being year 40k, that it was quite basic. Bolters without any crazy scopes and, you know, pretty simple construction. The armor, too, is very medieval. Nothing crazy with any fancy shields, just pure old hard metal, you know? And of course, there's some pretty crazy systems, like the Terminator armor gets teleported back to safety once the user dies. And that is seriously cool. But once again, the look and design of it all, it doesn't resemble Star Wars or anything that's crazy sci-fi with blasters and other things like lightsabers. I mean, there's cool, crazy weaponry, but it's not Star Wars kind of sci-fi, you know? With their holograms and whatnot. I mean, I don't doubt that there's holograms in this, but point is, it simply isn't all too crazy-like. Now, during the Age of Strife, when humanity was on the brink of its defeat and extinction, almost, one could say, after the glorious period of the Golden Age, we lost track of a lot of our technology, and a lot of the knowledge and technology and research was lost. And the tech priests, they work hard on preserving that, along with, I mean, we're not going to get into deep discussion about the other things, that's for other videos, but point is, we will never be able, the Empire will never be able to possess the incredible technology that we once did during the Golden Age, when there was mostly peace. Because a lot of that knowledge has been lost and will be lost forever. And when I say that, I'm almost thinking of Mass Effect kind of technology, which is pretty seriously advanced as well. But look at this, how cool is this fight not turning into now, with the defenders occupying this square here in the center. And we're going to be heading back now to the final trenches back here. These guys are still alive on this side. And there's even a few Space Marines here in combat. Let's take a look at it from this view. Is that a shotgun? It sounds like a shotgun. What's going on over here? They're attacking the guardsmen here by the waterfront now. And holding it back. Grenade launcher and a plasma gun. Obviously, plasma weaponry is quite advanced, but it's definitely not beyond our imagination, so to speak. And this grenade launcher, it fires a pretty high caliber grenade at a pretty high rate of fire. But you know, we have the, what is it called, ML-23 or something, which is the revolving grenade launcher that is actually used by armies today. So not too far from each other. Last guns and stuff, definitely advanced, obviously comparable to the kind of blasters we see in Star Wars and whatnot, but still not the craziest of sci-fi imagination, if you know what I mean. They've secured this right side, so it's going to be down to the trench now. More and more inhabitants and defenders of the planet are attacking. Let me tell you, the Imperial Guardsmen and Space Marines back here are going to need reinforcements as soon as possible, or they're going to lose their ground here and their footing, and well, they're going to be beat back and ultimately destroyed and killed. But if they can somehow defend this and receive reinforcements and push back the inhabitants and their defenders, then I think they'll be able to unify this planet and bring them in under the big shield and great cape of the Empire. Oh, that looks painful down there. Oh, explosion above me. Did you see that? Some like particles raining down on top of me. We got troops coming in from the left flank as well. A lot of mixed weaponry. We're talking a lot of grenade launchers, plasma and las guns, even a few bolt weapons as well. Those knights are super fast, and they are originally lore-wise crusaders, as I said previously, but in this case I'm using them for the for the visualization of there being a totally different faction defending instead of the Empire here, where they're guardsmen-looking people. There's another... Oh, reinforcements. I'm not sure how these guys arrived, perhaps by drop pod. Invisible drop pods. I think they were supposed to spawn a little earlier. These guys could have just ended up in a really bad spawn. Not sure that was meant to be. But the troops back here have landed and arrived from the landing zones, so they're going to be joining in now in the trench. This is almost a half a company. I'd say about a platoon, 2 platoons. The one unit I wanted to show you now towards the end of this video is these soldiers back here. Now, they don't look like the knights. They've got like cool helmets, but these definitely don't resemble guardsmen. Some of the weaponry is questionable because it does look like the guns we see coming out of Mars and Terra, so to speak, and all the developments and tech priests there. But their armor is different enough. They almost look like big versions of RoboCop. And to me, that definitely signals that it's a different faction than the attacking one, which in this case would be the Empire. So that's cool. They almost look like some of those assassins. But yeah, I think these guys work with the Inquisition, lore-wise. But that's cool. Oh, more Imperial Fists are arriving as well. Perhaps the Primarch of the Legion and the Astartes. So after the Horus Heresy, so there were 8 or 9 starter legions. That's what they're called, right? We have Lunar Wolves, which is Horus's own. And Horus was... all of the Primarchs were more or less considered sons of the Emperor. And they were almost held at a demigod level, you know. But there's a lot of human faults and errors and flaws with these people that really shines through the story and lore, where their weaknesses end up kind of leading to them being corrupted by chaos and stuff. And some of their well wishes of the Emperor that is then rejected by the Emperor himself, which also then turns into their disliking of him. So there's a lot of interesting things. But we got them. We also, of course, have the Word Bearers, which were another kind of special legion whose members worship the Emperor to a godlike level, which of course was forbidden by the Emperor, and he shamed them and penalized them publicly and whatnot for doing so. And they raced their home planets, because all of the legions, when they went out on their Great Crusade, they more or less almost got themselves like their own home planets after unifying the Empire, or helping unify the Empire. And one of these planets was turned entirely into worshipping the Emperor by their own religion, so that they had to raise the entire planet. And I do believe Robert Gulimaner and the Emperor himself, and of course the rest of the Ultramarines, went there to raise it entirely, which is pretty cool, but also quite brutal to do so against your own legionnaires, so to speak, your own Astartes. And after the Horus Heresy, I believe they were no longer real legions. They were split up into chapters. But that's also something that has something to do with lore and all the afterwork done by the communities and stuff. People can kind of like add their own legions, and it can be approved by the official lore, so to speak. So yeah, it's kind of cool, but whatever. There's so many more now than there was then. Of course, we have the Blood Ravens, the Blood Angels, the Imperial Fists. We also have the Salamanders, which were green. The Salamanders actually died. They were all like eliminated during the final battle of the Horus Heresy on Terra. Them, and then we also have the whites. Oh, what are they called? I don't know. There was a few, but I can't remember them all right now for some reason. But if I spend a little more time remembering that. But point of all this talk throughout the entire video is telling you guys, I know more now. I've actually spent time learning, and there's so much more for me to learn. There's so much more knowledge for me to kind of like remember. Dude, keep in mind that this that I'm talking about now, I listened and read 2 weeks ago, so the memory isn't super fresh. But this battle, though, is super fresh. Seriously. Love this urban combat. I think we've been getting some pretty sick scenes. And right now, the remaining Space Marines are helping to push out the... Oh, it's really cool. I love the smoke. And they're done. Stop for no one. Did I hear Garand? That sounded like a Garand, dude. Like the bling. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed it, and it was nice. It's nice to be back now. It's been so long. A little bit of an update, and I'm still kind of recovering and getting back into it. I feel kind of almost drained of energy. But thank you guys for watching, and once again, awesome map. See you guys soon again. Ciao.